we're hoping that before you start getting bored or before we start talking your ears off, we're more or less done. So welcome to TEACH2ENDUE. My name is Ayoyinka Owairu. I am a trainer at TEACH2ENDUE. I am an administrator. I am a teacher. I am a trainer. And I feel privileged to be here, to share this time with you guys. This is part of our own corporate social responsibility for this times, because we are aware that this is a time when people are at their wits' end, not knowing exactly how to process these times. Not only that, also finding a way to occupy their time productively and making the best of this time. So, like I said, this is TEACH2ENDUE's way of supporting, mentally and emotionally, and also probably helping ourselves to prepare before this time is over. So it's good to have you here. All participants, it's great to have you. I'm hoping that one of these days we can be in a Zoom classroom together. Unfortunately, I can't put everybody up there. I see all your faces, but hopefully when we have to do a direct course, I can see your faces. So just enjoy my face. Yeah, I went to a lot of effort for you guys. What do you think? Yeah. So, like I said, my name is Ayoyinka Owairu, and we'll go straight into this session now. We're going to have 4 sessions. We will not take question and answers until the sessions are done. So what I would advise is that you have pen and paper to note your questions down for when it is time for questions and answers. We put it online, the things we're going to be learning today, and 4 major objectives, 4 major things for this webinar is that we hope that by the time we're done, you go away a bit more empowered as to how to use your time, that you have a bit more direction as to where you want to go. And you're armed with enough to start to prepare yourself for post-COVID, put it that way, or for when the lockup is locked down, or for when the lockdown is locked up, whichever way you want to put it. Okay, so when I do trainings, I like to start with nuggets. I'll look at the time because I have to, trainers, we have a tendency to talk. That is the problem. We talk a lot. And so I have to start timing myself so that the first session we don't overlap. So the first session is going to be how to, tips on how to stay productive at home. We also have tips on increasing your earning power. We have tips of highly productive people. And then that one, becoming smart lazy. What does it mean, becoming smart lazy? I will be taking 2 sessions. I will be taking the session on, tips on how to stay productive at home. And Mrs. Akaumen will be taking the session on how to increase your earning power while at home. My colleague at TEACH2ENDUE, Mr. Akpata Emmanuel, will be taking the session on tips on how to be highly productive or habits of highly productive people. And then I will be rounding up by taking the session becoming smart lazy. So, like I said, I like to start my trainings with nuggets. And the way I explain nuggets is, it can be a quote that I came across. It can be an experience that I've turned into a phrase. But what really the nugget is it's supposed to be something you can refer back to, you can meditate on at a quieter time. And so if you permit me, I am going to start with a few golden nuggets, and I will choose. So the first one, and you can write this down, is the battle to do and become is first won in the mind before it manifests into action. That is loaded. And if you really take your time to meditate on it, it will speak to you. So I'll repeat it. The battle to do and become is first won in the mind before it manifests into action. That's number 1. Number 2, you have a choice as to what you feed the giants of your mind, and the giant you feed the most will always triumph. I'll repeat, you have a choice as to what you feed the giant of your mind, and the giant you feed the most will always triumph. And I'll just add one more. Hard work, I like this one. Hard work has great results, but diligence takes you before kings. In other words, there's a huge difference between being hardworking and being diligent. And those are all the things we are looking at today. So I'm going to share my screen with you while I'm talking to you, so that you can see my slides, so we can go through how to stay productive quickly. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen with you there. And so I'll take it up there. And that's me saying welcome and all that. So like I said, the things we're learning, 3 things. So I'm talking about 3 things today to stay productive at home. So make sure when you go for a training or a webinar, a free webinar, whatever the aims and objectives, make sure you draw from that, so that when it comes to question and answers, that's a directive, that's a direction you can go if you didn't get the 3 things, or if you didn't get the secrets of highly productive people and the other 2 objectives. So we'll go straight into my session, and I think I have just 10 minutes more, I think, thereabouts. So we're going to be very fast about this. Okay, so 3 ways to stay productive at home. 3 ways. Propose in your mind, have a plan, and then you're going to prepare. I'm going to move on very fast. Propose in your mind. What does that mean? Make up your mind. You have to make up your mind. And don't do making up your mind in your mind. Do making up your mind on paper. You know what I mean by that? Write it down. What you've proposed for this time, you want to write it down. Then the plan and how we're going to prepare. So propose. Make up your mind and renew your mind, especially concerning these times. For some people, they're seeing this time as a time of anxiety. They're seeing this time as a time of lockdown. They can't process because they're fearful. They can't process because they're wondering. You need to renew your mind that only the fearless can wade into the unknown. Only the fearless can enter into the unknown. And for all you know, there's so much greatness waiting for you on the other side. You need to first renew your mind that this is a good time for you to renew yourself. This is a good time for you to redefine yourself. This is a good time for you to refuel, to re-energize, to all the re's. This is a good time. Why is that important? Because all, like I said with my nugget, all the magic, all the power, all the enablement, all the being able to do stems from your mind. One of the nuggets I said to you is, if you don't feed your mind, if you don't renew your mind, something else will feed your mind. So I'll tell you a quick story. There's this old Cherokee, a grandpa, and he was talking to his grandson. And he said to his grandson, he said, I have 2 wolves in my mind fighting. There's a good one and there's a bad one. The boy was looking at him. And he said, the good one is peace, joy, hope, happiness, gladness, joy, renewing. And the bad one, and all the words go on. And the bad one is evil, depression, sadness, COVID, corona, flu, cancer. And it goes on. He said, and they're fighting a huge battle. And his young grandson said to him, so Grandpa, who won? And he said, the one that is fed wins. In other words, if you give space to the evil one, if you give space to depression, and if you give space to hopelessness, that is what you're going to get. As a man thinks, so is he. It all happens in the mind. It is deliberate. It is intentional. You have to do it. So which ways can you renew your mind? Spirit, body, and soul. Why? You are in balance when you take care of your spirit, when you take care of your soul, and we take care of your body. There's an imbalance when it is just your body and your soul that is being taken care of, or even just your spirit. Some of us are like that. Or we know the Bible and we go to church and we know what the word says, but we're not taking care of our bodies. We're not watching what we're eating. Know that a fit mind needs a fit body. There's a lot when you're fit, when you're eating the right food, there's good energy to do what you have to do. You wake up in the morning with a gusto to go. So you have to take care of your body. Now, your soul is the most important thing. The gateway to your soul is your mind. What are you feeding your mind during these times? Are you consuming all COVID information and you're crippled by fear, or you're just updating yourself, which you should do? You should have the updates on what is going on, but that should not be what you spend all your time on. So which giant are you feeding in your mind? Is it the one that keeps coming with all the negatives and the depressing things, or is it the good one? Now, when you propose in your mind what to do, then, like we said, spirit, body, and soul have a plan. And when we're saying renew your mind, it is that you change your perception of these times. Do not see these times as a time of hopelessness. See this time as a good time for you to find yourself, to sharpen your axe, to get to know your family more. See this time as a good time. Perception is key, is what you feed your mind that fuels your perception. So that is up to you. So you need to propose in your mind. Your beliefs, change it. Your thought patterns, change it. Remember, deliberately and consciously. Number 2, I'll go to number 2, okay? So plan. So we said propose. Guys, if you don't do the first one, if you don't propose, don't bother planning. Remember, all the magic, all the power, all the enablement, all the being able to do starts from your mind. So you need to take care of your mind. You need to talk to yourself spiritually. You need to be in line with what is positive. Surround yourself with positive people. Listen to positive things. Okay, once you've proposed in your mind what you want to do in your body, what kind of food am I going to eat? What kind of exercise? And you've proposed, I am going to read my Bible, or there's a particular person I like to listen to them every day. What are they doing for you? They're renewing your mind. I love the Bible. It's one of the books I love to read. And one of the things it says is when you renew your mind, you're transformed. It's just, you must read books, and I just love that book. You must renew your mind. So if you're a Muslim, make sure you're renewing your mind. If you're a Christian, make sure you're renewing your mind. I am a Christian, so I renew my mind with the Bible. Okay? And like I said, your spirit, your body, and your soul. Now, what's the plan? I'll tell you a quick story again. There were 4 bricklayers, and they were all working together. The first one said, I am just going to lay a brick. Where I am, I think I'm just going to lay a brick. The second one said, I am not only going to lay a brick, I am going to try and lay a few more bricks. I won't lay one brick, a few more bricks. The third one said, I am going to make a wall. I am not just going to lay a brick or some bricks. I am going to make a wall. I am going to make sure I make up a wall. The fourth one said, I am going to build a cathedral. 4 people, same situation, 4 different vision. Have projected vision, guys, for this time. Don't look at, because the person that saw the cathedral, there's nothing to signify or indicate that he can have a cathedral, but is what he has said he wants to do, the power of belief. That's not what we're talking about today. But when you believe, nothing is impossible when you believe. So make sure your vision for this time is projected as far as the end of the year. Have a big picture. And the moment you have that big picture, I'm sure some of you, beginning of the year, you wrote down your vision. Stay with it. Stay the course. Stay on course. Don't get distracted by this time. So projected vision. Don't lay a brick. Don't think about now. Have a larger vision, a bigger picture for yourself. Now, remember what I said about proposing. Write it down. Everything you're doing is important. You open a book. If you've opened a book, great job. If you haven't, go have a journal and put in there. Today is the 24th of April, and I propose that by the end of this year, I am going to do such and such. I am going to be such and such. I can't fill that in for you. We all need to do that individually. Once you have your big picture, set the goals. And the next thing is create a schedule. Now, what I'll say at this point is we have a lot of free resources. You're a subscriber already. If you can't find some of these resources, send us a mail and say, you know what, I don't know how to create a schedule. Can you help me? If there's a free training on it, we might just because of that decide to do a free training, or we might just give you the resource. So create a schedule. What does that mean? Quickly, because I'm running out of time. I guess I shouldn't really add my intro to my time. I guess I shouldn't, yeah? My intro was like 5 minutes. Okay, so we'll go on quickly. So what's the easiest way to say you create a schedule? A schedule is simply a template. Call it a template, call it a document that reflects what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, whom you're doing it for, and what's the next thing, what you're doing it for. So when you've put down your goals, I want to do all this, what you do with the schedule is in order of priority. It's a quick one, but you, like I said, you might want to look at the courses we have to offer. So quickly, you order your goals in order of priority. What is more important to you? Fix them into days, fix them into time. Don't forget this is a time that you're with family, you're with your wife, or you're with your husband, or if you're not married, you're with your family. So you have to put them into your schedule. You have to make space for everybody and for everyone. But the most important thing is you want to create your own space. So have a big picture, set your goals, create a schedule. I can't teach you everything today. So I have it there. By failing to prepare, so we're going to the last one, which is to prepare. So the first thing you propose in your heart, what you want to do, spirit, body, and soul. Secondly, you plan. By failing to prepare, you plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you plan, have a plan. Because for every strategy, there must be a plan. What we do a lot of the times is we just jump into tasks. We just jump into goals. You do not break down your strategies. There must be a strategy. And when you say strategy, that simply means a plan. What, when, why, how, where, okay? So the last slide. So how do I prepare? How do I prepare? And I'll tell you another quick story. There were two guys, Paul and John. And if you're John there or you're Paul, it's just a coincidence. There were two guys, Paul and John, and they had a competition. They're woodcutters. And they had a competition who would be the one to cut down the most trees in the forest. So they said, okay, tomorrow morning, we're going to go straight for it and go and see who is going to win this competition. So they got into the forest that day, same time, they started chopping away. So Peter was chopping away, John was chopping away. At a point, John heard Peter had stopped chopping. So it was, it was like, yeah, the guy is getting tired. So after about 15 minutes, he heard John chopping away again. And then every hour he would hear John stop. Peter would hear John stop chopping. And he's wondering, what's this guy doing? But he was so elated and he just kept going for it that there's no way I am winning this competition. At the end of the day, when all was said and done, they counted. And voila, John won. And Peter said, there's no way. There's no way you could have won this competition. I heard you stop all the time. At least every hour, you were stopping for 15 minutes. You know something? Do not watch your competition. That's not what I'm talking about. But that goes to show that when you're busy watching your competition, what they're doing, you're wasting your own time. Don't look at what others are doing. Compete with yourself, not with people. We'll talk about that for another day. Okay, but so where am I going? So John said to him, yes, I know. He said, but whenever I stop, he said, so Peter said to him, how come? How come you cut down more trees than I did? You stopped. And John said, yes, I stopped because every time I took a break, I was resting myself, one, but I was also sharpening my axe. So this is Peter, the same axe from the morning. From the morning, it kept chopping away. So more effort, less productivity. And this is John. He kept sharpening his axe in between. So what it is when he's cut a little while, when he's cut a few trees down, he sharpens. So while Peter is going away at the one tree, maybe like with 6 hits, he does it in 2 hits. And that's why we're here today. You need to sharpen your axe. And I know some of you are doing that already, and that's why you're here, because you want to sharpen your axe. What does that mean? you have to increase your capacity. When you've looked at your goals, when you've projected your vision and you've said, I was probably earning such and such. Thank God Mrs. Akaumen is going to talk about increasing your capacity, and I'll be bringing her on next. If I was earning so much before Corona hit, I want to be able to earn this much by the time I spend the next 6 months, once the lockdown is over. 6 months of work, I want to be able to negotiate my salary to another level. If you do nothing about it, it's wishful thinking. If you just leave it, it's a daydream. So when you've proposed, you've planned, then you prepare yourself to become that person that is going to earn more. Or you prepare yourself to become that business person that is going to have a viable business. Or if your goal is to become a better husband, you sharpen your axe. How do husbands treat their wives? If your goal is to become a better wife, how do wives treat their husbands? We can't go on because we've got so much, but we'll have questions and answers. And so hopefully you can be able to ask me questions. I'm going to stop sharing now so we can come back to myself. I'll ask Mrs. Akaumen to please make herself visible if she can, because she let me see. Okay, so bear with me just to see. Okay, I am going to ask her to start a video and unmute. So we'll have questions after. I can see some chats here. I'll check quickly, but we'll have questions. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Should I leave and log in later when you get to be transformed? Yes. We'll just note down your questions so that we can answer your questions when we're done. But just a quick recap while I'm waiting for Mrs. Akaumen to come on. I will introduce her. I don't know why it's saying I'm unmuting her now. I hope it's not that she's not there. Okay. Okay, so yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Right, hold on. Yeah, good. So just a quick recap, as we've said, we've done the first one, 3 tips: plan, propose, plan, and prepare. Propose, plan, and prepare. If you want to know more during Q&A, if you're able to get some questions in, that'll be great. But I would also advise that you check our resources. Guys, whatever it is that you don't have understanding on, you have to gain understanding. So there's a lot of free, we have podcasts, a lot of free things on podcast. Search, there's PDF downloads. I know for a fact that we've sent out tips on becoming, on having great work ethics, and there's a lot still coming with the newsletters. Make sure you check your email all the time for your newsletters. Make sure you do that, okay? So, Mrs. Akaumen, did you go again?
Oh, hello, hello, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
You didn't send me all the things you want me to say about, so I'm going to allow you to do that. But I'll say this much. Mrs. Akaumen is she's full of resources. When you say somebody that is empowered, spirit, body, and soul, she's one woman. I know that spiritually, she's there, she's a pastor, but then she's also a trainer. She trains in leadership and management. She has a lot of outfits. She also runs an online school. So much, guys, so much. So you want to listen. You know, for some people, I'm not sure I know everybody that is on, but for some people that you're on and we've worked together or we've met, you know, I always say, when people that have achieved are talking, listen to what they're saying and pick up 1 or 2 things. We are all ordained. It's just that we all need to learn from one another. So I'm going to allow her to take, over now and do her session on tips on increasing your earning power. You want to, I know you like that. I know you all like that. So please.
So
Yeah.
do you want me to share my screen with you, Yinka?
If you want to share your screen, it's fine.
Okay. So
You have the permission to do that, don't you?
Yes, let me just see where I am.
Please take over.
Thank you very much. And so you can see my screen, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much for having me today. Absolutely delighted. My name is Toluwani Akahome, and I'm not going to take from my time that I have to spend with you to do too much introduction. So that's why I said I put that there as a quick intro. I run Vantage Dimensions, and it's a leadership and people development consultancy. And essentially what we do is, in a nutshell, we work with organizations to build great people so that they can become greater organizations. We also work with individuals, we work with teams, and it's all about moving people from where they are to where they want to be. I'm also the founder of Genuity Africa, which is a membership organization that supports African women in business and leadership. I'm currently doing a FICO with PhD. It's taking long enough, but life keeps cropping up and I can't be bothered. I'm just doing it anyway. So I'm keeping my fingers on important things while I'm learning as well. So I'm just going to kickstart what I want to chat with you about. And of course, there'll be question and answers at the end. So by God's grace, to be able to take those questions and answers. Yinka has asked me to, let me just do, 1 second. Let me move this away. Pardon me. And I'll just, okay. So we're talking very quickly because I know she gave me 15 minutes. And
we can make it 20. We can make it 20. Because 15 minutes is small. So just for them to, 20.
Yes. Okay. So we're talking about tips on increasing your earning potentials while you're at home, while we are all at home. Of course, some people already have what they are doing. So they probably are continuing their work from home, which is great. Some people are in different stages of their lives and they are looking for that extra bit. So this was quickly put together, but I'm going to be talking around the last slide that I have. But one key thing I want to zero in on before we start talking about the tips is that word potential. Okay, that it is very important for us to understand that word potential as it applies to each of us, because the word potential is quite relative. So when we're talking about increasing your earning potentials, we are asking you to look at what you have the capacity for, depending on your own ability, depending on your goals, depending on what you want to achieve. So it is quite important for us to look at that because at different times we think that when we look at, I remember, Yinka was saying that there's no point comparing yourself with other people. Okay, it's just not wise. So look at yourself. Don't look at the competition or what other people are doing. Look at what exactly you want to achieve. So the first thing that I would say in terms of earning your potential, increasing your earning potential, is to ask yourself, why do I really want to do this at this time? Because when you are clear about why you want to do something, it helps you keep the motivation. It helps you keep the momentum. So there's no point saying, okay, let me just see what I can do. I just increase my any potential. I just see where I can make some money. You have to be clear the why you're doing it so that your goals will be very clear, and then your actions would follow the goals. All right. So the first thing there is map out for yourself very clearly, why do I want to do this? So be clear about that. And I don't want to overflog that. But let me quickly define for you that your potential is that possibility, that capacity, that ability, that aptitude that you have to do something. Okay. And all of us have that potential. But as I always say to people, potential is nothing. Potential is zero. The fact that you can doesn't mean that you will.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So in actual fact, but it is true that you can increase your earning potential at right now, but it doesn't mean that you will. So let's get that very clear. The potential is there, but it means zero if you're not taking any action, if there's no strategy and there's no action plan. I hope you understand it to that point. All right. So the first thing I'll say, apart after saying, that you must know your why, the second thing I'll say is you have to be clear what exactly is happening in your environment. All right. So let me go on to the last slide I have that I quickly put some things together. It's important for you when you think about increasing your earning potential to evaluate, to scope out the changes that are taking place in your environment, your immediate environment. Okay, so you look at the internal environment, you look at the external environment. Our external environment at this time now is all this COVID business. All right, so scope it out, evaluate what's going on. All right, and then evaluate your own internal environment in terms of what are the things that are going on around me. And I can't talk too much about it, but I'll give an example. Okay, so at the moment now, you have a lot of people talking about, just give an example, talking about masks. And my sister-in-law is, she's a tailor, or fashion designer, as they call it. And I was going through some of the pictures of her work that I saw, and I saw that what fashion designers are doing right now is that they are making a mask, not just mask. They are making gele with mask. They are making custom-made designer masks. And I'm thinking, do you know what I'm saying? They've scoped out their environment. They're evaluating what's going on around them. Right? And they are seeing that there's a demand. And I'm using that as an example. There's a demand for masks. And you know how people have been told you must wear your mask, and people will still want to look fashionable while they're wearing their masks. All right. So that's what's going on in the external environment. All right. Now, in our own internal environment, she has the resources. She has what it takes to do all that. Okay. In terms of, she has machines, she has her all these apprentices, all those people that work with, she has internal, and she has people around her. All right, so I use that acronym there, PESTEL, for those who will understand it, but I quickly say PESTEL means you're scoping out your political environment. So what is the government saying? They're saying we all should stay at home. All right. What is economically, what is it saying? We are all locked down, no money coming in. Especially, okay, so if you live in this part of the world, you get some relief packages. But if you live in the other part of the world, you get nothing. Okay, so you're scoping out your economic environment. What's it saying? Zilch. Okay, you're checking out your social cultural environment, technological environment. Okay, environmental, and I'm giving you the broad picture. So I don't want to lay any burden on you, but this is the broad picture. Okay, so after that, you do for yourself an assessment of your own skills. So you do a SWOT assessment, and I can't talk a lot more because this is not the platform to flesh it all out. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for that. So you do an assessment of your own skills, your current skills, your competencies, your expertise relative to, what's going on in the environment and relative to your own goals. Does that make sense? Okay, I can't see what
yes, I'll answer for you.
Yeah. Okay, so you're doing your scoping of the external, right? And you're doing your scoping of the internal. And part of the scoping of the internal is to see, what do I have the capability for? What do I have the resources for as it is now? So do an assessment of that, map it together. So let me go back to my sister-in-law who's a fashion designer. So she can do all of this fine, lovely stuff, right? And then the environment is asking for fashionably made masks and hair tie to go. You know, all of those things are in vogue right now. So she's mapping it out, and she's saying, okay, this is where the gap is. This is where I can increase my potential for earning here. Okay. So, for example, some people, I just asked somebody yesterday, I said, would you consider being my virtual assistant? Okay, because my virtual assistant is doing other things right now. So I said, okay, would you consider that? She hadn't even thought about that. But I'm saying, you're on lockdown, I'm locked down. I need help. You need money. You know, and you can do this. And she hadn't thought about it. I approached Yinka I think about a couple of weeks ago, and I said, we are doing an ebook. We want to do an ebook. This is a time to do ebooks. This is a time to write your book. This is a time to earn money. It doesn't take a lot to write a book, especially when you know it's your area. Stay within your own area. Do a short ebook. If you are a spiritual guru, do an ebook on all those revelations that God has been giving you. Share with somebody. Do an ebook. Yeah. You know, you can sell it for €2.99, €5. It doesn't have to be too much. What you're doing is you are working those potential, because potential energy is nothing until it's put to work. So you are putting those energy that you have in terms of your skill, your competencies, you are putting them to use. All right. So there's so many ways that you can look at it and do what you have the potential for. Then back to my first point when I talked about the why. All right. The why will help you set your goals. Okay. So exactly when I talk about my earning, what exactly am I thinking about? How much do I think I can earn? So you set that down as your goal. And then you begin to map out, how exactly can I use my skills that I've mapped against the external environment? How can I use it to bring in something for me? How much do I think that I can get from this? Okay, so if, for example, I know that I have the capability to be a virtual assistant, so I'm saying, okay, you know, for an hour, because we are all on lockdown, we're not really earning much. You need my skills, and I need your money. So maybe I'll go for €8 an hour. Okay, and I'm going to work per day. I work 5 hours. So calculate that. So I have technology, you have technology. You're a virtual assistant. All you need to do is just be at the other end of the phone, you have your laptop, and I'm sending you stuff. You know how it works. Mm-hmm. So if I know I want to earn a lot, I'm saying, okay, I'm a virtual assistant to this person. I offer myself to another person and to another person. So in a whole week, I'm actually working while I'm locked down. Okay, so your goals will help you determine how much you're then going to do. And then you make a plan. How do you get there? Am I going to be calling people? I call Yinka. Yinka, do you know anybody who needs a virtual assistant? Or Yinka, can we collaborate and do an ebook together? Can we, how do I get there? All right. And then you go for it. You actually start. Because if you don't start, how are you going to get there? It will, at the end of the day, be only just what? Potential. Okay. And potential, as I said, it means nothing. So the key thing here is knowing how to do that assessment. So let me just do a little bit of expatiation on number 2 about the SWOT. So map out your strengths. What do I do and do really well? And you can get a coach or somebody to really help you with that. Because I know that working with people, that's a challenging thing to do. Okay. Yeah. And you're not just mapping out your strength. You're not just saying, oh, I'm a good talker. No, you're mapping out your strength in relation to what the environment is saying. So it's a mapping. It's not just throwing things there and say, I call my firstborn. What do you say I do really well? Oh, yeah, you talk well. Then you put that down. It might be what you need. Do you get my point? Okay, and oh, you are a good homekeeper. We don't need that right now because nobody is going to anybody's houses right now, even if you're a good housekeeper. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So you're mapping your strengths and you're mapping your weaknesses. you're mapping your the opportunities and the threats in relation to what the external environment is saying and what your immediate internal environment is saying. And so all of that put together will help you. And I'm giving you practical tips, that will help you to quickly increase your earning potential, because you do have the potential to do a lot. It's only discovering that you indeed can do it. And that's a mind thing. So before I run, I'm just going back to what Yinka said. So before I round up, I'll just give it an analogy that always speaks to me. And it's similar to what Yinka, the knowledge she gave. I heard about two men that live in Mushi. And Mushi is in Lagos, Nigeria, if you are from the West. And if you know how transportation is in Lagos, you know that can be deadly, really frustrating. So these two men standing at the bus stop, both lamenting about how terrible transportation conditions are in Lagos. One is thinking, oh, I can't stand this country any longer. I'm out. I'm like Andrew, I'm jetting out, And the other is saying, you know what? If I can just get somebody to believe in it, I need to go and talk to some people, because this is a good time to start transportation business here in Mushi. Okay, so two people, same situation, different perspectives, different paradigms. So if you indeed believe that I have what it takes to earn some money even during lockdown, then you can do it. And that's why I'm reiterating that potential is nothing. It is what you put to use that works for you. So even when you put those plans down, you make a plan, how do I get there? If there's no implementation to follow, if there's no action, it just stays at the point of potential. Did I hit 20 minutes?
Yes, but what I've decided I'm going to do actually is we'll probably do question and answer now, because one of the panelists is having technical issues. Let's see whether we can give him some time. I have one question here already, and I noticed what I would say is just put your questions, type your questions, and I'm going to read this quickly so we can help, suggest. I have Huoma, I hope I pronounced it right, Huoma Nwachuku. She says, I'm a business person and I know after the lockdown, it won't be business as usual. I'm in beauty business. Everyone wants to eat now. How do I keep afloat and take my business to the next level after pandemic? I'll allow you to have a go and then I will just answer that.
Okay, is that...
Do you want me to read it again?
Can you repeat that question for me, please? Thank you.
I'm a business person and I know after the lockdown, it won't be business as usual.
Yes.
As usual. I'm in beauty business. Everyone wants
business. Okay.
Now. How do I keep afloat and take my business to the next level after the pandemic?
Okay, that's a brilliant question, but let me answer it this way. You see, in the post-COVID, after the pandemic, everyone has to, first of all, know that we have to think in a different way. Okay, so that's the first thing. You cannot, unless you're setting yourself up for failure, you cannot think that business will go on as usual. All right? So the first thing that I think that you need to do is the same thing that I've said before. Map out what is your environment now saying. So what was your environment saying before COVID? Okay, so before COVID, people will walk into your shop, you're in beauty, you're in constant contact with with people, your clients, and all of that. So now that the pandemic is over, post-COVID, what are the needs of your clients? So this would mean now that you are now engaging with your clients in different ways. So a lot of dialogue. You have to now talk to your clients in a different way. So you're not just going to make assumptions. This is what you're supposed to be doing. No. Now you have to do a different kind of survey, depending on the needs, trying to find out what the needs of your clients are. And do you know something? You might even realize that you have a new set of clients apart from the ones you used to have. And you might find out that your business is not actually just in beauty, okay, which is your traditional business, but I'm actually extend onto something else that you never thought about. So you need to really sit down and map out, okay, what is going on right now in my own industry right now? Okay, so are people's concerns really about beauty right now, or is it about health much more than beauty, so that I can use my beauty background, right, to serve the health needs of my clients? Do you get what I'm saying? Maybe you check if she is getting, or he is getting what I'm saying.
What I'm going to say is this. Sorry, I have people raising their hands. If you can type the questions, it'll be much better, because if we open up the sounds, because people are in different places, it might interfere with how we're all being what we're able to hear. So from John, so just type. I'll check.
Okay, I can see some of the questions here.
Sorry, Mrs. Nwachukwu, if she's not, what I'll say is this: we will try as much as possible. We're having another webinar on increasing your earning power. You want to sign up for that? It's free as well, and you're already a subscriber, so it doesn't cost you anything. So at that webinar, we can talk more. But what I'm going to say, to add to what, let me even say doctor, pastor, me calling her Mrs. just doesn't flow. What I'm going to say, added to what Toluwani said, is she said something, and that's why I say that when you go for trainings or people are talking, be very sensitive to keywords. And she said, be very aware of your political environment and the economic environment. Now, guys, you must know from here on that online is a fantastic place to be. Every one of you should understand that online is where you want to be. So I'll say to you, for example, Mrs. Nwachukwu, like Toluwani has said, there are other things that could, spring up from you just, okay, I'm looking at it here, from you just, we'll answer your questions, from you just doing hair. But one of the things I'll say to you now is, none of you, if you're in business, if you're a business person, you cannot be shy of Instagram anymore. You cannot be shy of Facebook. Because one thing you must do is you must keep your customers, and you must show your customers that you have a lot waiting for them by the time post-COVID is over. By the time post-COVID is over, they're salivating to come and meet you. They want to come to your shop, and you have to keep in touch with them. Now, WhatsApp is good, but visual. Not only are you able to get your present customers to follow you online, you're also getting new customers. You cannot be shy of social media if you're a business person now. All indications are that we are going to be doing a lot of things online. I believe there's some teachers in this seminar, in this webinar as well. Toluwani just said it, virtual assistant, virtual teachers. So if, for example, you've made up your mind that even after post-COVID is over, I want to start now, after, like she said, it is potential until you put the energy to work is nothing. So you're a teacher, you want to earn more. Being a virtual teacher is a good way, but you're going to have to add to that. Sorry, just to finish. So Mrs. Nwachukwu, stay in touch with your customers now, because you're talking after. Stay in touch with your customers. Open a WhatsApp group page, or what is it called? Instagram or Facebook, whichever one you're comfortable with. Keep your customers, because the first thing is no customer, no business. So keep your customers. Make sure your customers are still attracted to you. So if it's your daughter's hair you're going to weave, if it's your own hair that you're going to weave, and remember, sharpen your axe as well. Go for trainings, go online. A lot of people are doing a lot of things online. Keep increasing your capacity for when the pandemic is going to be over. Because like Toluwani said, things are definitely going to be different, and you want to be prepared. Okay, we can't take all the time to answer the question, so I'll just tell Toluwani to just put a chip in so we can answer other people and we can do.
Yes, so I just want to quickly say this. You see, people, I know it's good that people are already thinking post-COVID, right? But even while we're on COVID now, as business people, it's important for us to constantly continue to link up with our customers. Okay, so let me talk about our sister who's the hairdresser. So how many times have you contacted your clients now to say, how are you? Okay, how are you? Are you staying safe? Sending you a virtual hug. How are you doing? How are you managing your hair during this time? You
Give
know,
tips, free tips.
let me tell you what I've been using. Give a picture of maybe something that's worked for you. It's just, that's what I'm talking about, dialoguing in a different way with your clients. If before, they were walking into your shop. Now, people are going to be afraid of even walking into shops now because fear has
Until
filled
it
the
is
hearts
clear
of
it is
people.
over. Yes.
Even when this experience is over, it will be almost like luring people to come in, to your shop. You almost want to cajole them because they're afraid. So all of these things, and that point that Yinka made about, having a digital presence.
You have to.
I don't think, I'll say to Yinka, I don't think there's anybody that is as how do you say, camera shy. I'm not camera shy, but I'm a very private person. I don't think there's people that are as private as me. But I realized that for me to be able to increase my own earning potentials, I need to get out there. And Yinka and I were having this discussion 2 weeks ago. We are speaking for over an hour, talking about digital presence, talking about how to work better. We were thinking about collaborations. And that's a new way of thinking. That's why I said you need to think in a different way. If before the next person is your competitor, this person, I don't want to talk to her. Now you might be that person is the person you need to leverage on the new era we have post-COVID. So you can have private sessions with Yinka, and you can do more somehow, because this platform will not allow us to go in depth to really take you through those things that you need to do in business.
Like I said, what I'll say to the participants here is follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and connect to our website. We are definitely holding another webinar on increase, because I know that is in the hearts of people. And during that webinar, we'll be able to break down a bit more, talking about all these digital tools, where you should be. We'll talk about that more. And definitely
trainings on those digital tools.
Yes, that was what I was going to say, that some of them you have to get trained. If you're, if you're quick, you can pick up a lot of things as well. I will say this for free, for my 2 pence. YouTube is a fantastic place to go to. Google is a fantastic place to go to. It's just that a lot of the times people want you to do it for them and then say it to them. And if you're looking for someone who is going to do it and say it to you, sometimes you have to pay for that. But we have a webinar coming up on increasing your earning power. Just watch out for the site, and we will be posting when that will be. I'll read we'll do 2 more questions, Toluwani, before I let you go. Okay. Joanne Ubam, to all the panelists, she said the era of post-COVID will emerge soon. Will you advise someone to quit his white collar and opt for business because he feels he has potentials and contacts to run a business? I'll let you go first.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. And it's a brilliant question, a very important question at this time as well. So what I would say is that it's still back to scoping out your environment, okay? It's a good thing to have a white collar job, right? But if you know that you have potentials to run your own business, the first thing is to know that there is a market for that business. So let's not think that because you can do business, that there's necessarily a market for that business. And post-COVID now, the market you think was there could have disappeared. Or
things have to settle first.
Sorry?
I said things have to settle first.
Yes, the market might not be there. And maybe the market needs to be approached in an entirely different way. So what I would say is, as a word of advice, is don't quit your white collar job, right? Stay with your white collar job as a safety net, right? Because you need money to start a new business anyway. So why don't you stay with your white collar job as a safety net while you are doing your survey, your fact finding, you are testing the ground, you're testing the waters, you're trying to see, okay, what's this post-COVID, what does it really look like? Because we don't really know. By the time post-COVID comes, we still need to settle into post-COVID before we know exactly how to navigate those waters. And they are uncharted waters. We haven't come this way before. So we need God's wisdom to do that. we also need to be really business savvy to do that. So it needs a lot of talking, a lot of research, a lot of fact finding. It needs a lot. And it also needs you to have people like that, you know, are mentors. Get mentors, people that you can talk, that you trust, that you know that have a good handle on those kind of things. Talk to them. Don't just take, you know, that route out and say, I'm quitting my job because I have a lot of contacts, I have a lot of potentials. Watch the business you knew before. Just as we are talking to our sister who's doing the hairdressing, the business you knew before might not be the business you find post-COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There's not much to add to that, Mrs. Ubam, other than one of the things I would be curious to knowing is if this person is, if it has anything to do with, because there's a lot of businesses that will come up after post-COVID. That's the truth. And it might just be smart to be a good time to start. So if the person wants to quit their jobs, which, like we've said, keep it as a safety net for now. But if the evidence is there that, because there's some businesses that will thrive post-COVID. If the evidence is there, speak to somebody who knows their business, about business plans. Let them look at the kind of business you want to do together, what the fallouts can be, what the shortfalls can be, where you need to, when you need to be, you know, just to be careful. So it needs good, whatever business, yes, a good risk assessment. It needs a good business plan, because the truth is some businesses will come from post-COVID. So I don't know what this person is thinking.
Absolutely.
But no matter what it is they're thinking, keep the job. This new one, you know, you can transit within a month. You can transit within 2 months. Depends on the business. So that is what I would say. It's let it be a plan. Give post-COVID 6 months before you make any drastic decisions. I think 6 months. There's already obviously a lot of shortfalls that will come from this. We all know. Okay. The truth of the matter is countries are not earning. Nobody is earning. So the first thing that is going to be affected is our standard of living. Know that. SMEs are affected, small businesses are affected, so a lot of small businesses will let people go. So the ripple effect is going to be more in terms of our, like I said, standard of living, our per capita, you know, GDP and all those things are going to be affected. So if you have a plan, a business idea that you feel will work post-COVID, yes, run with it, but run with it to the professional. Sit down with someone, break it down. Look at what you can earn in a month. Look at what you can earn in 2 months. Look at where the market is. Look at how you're going to get it to the market. And once you have all that down, and is 80% foolproof, 80, not 40, not 50, is 80% foolproof, then you start. Don't leave your job yet. Then you start. And then when you see that you're earning more than your salary, it's time to move on. Okay, so the next question from Stanley Ayenitaju, and then we'll go to the, it looks like because of network issues, Mr. Pata is not going to be able to join us. So I don't know, off the top of your head, Toluwani, can you do, because I don't want to talk too much, habits of, we can just, I think what we'll do is we'll just discuss it. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll discuss habits of tips of habits of highly productive people. That was the session it was supposed to take. But before we go to that, we'll answer Mr. Ayenitaju's question. And his question is, if you are into customer service, like teaching to be specific, what mindset should you operate in post-COVID-19 as a teacher? I'm a teacher, she's a teacher, so I'm sure we have a lot to tell you. So you go first, Toluwani.
Area. So if you're into customer service, like teaching to be specific, what mindset should you operate in post-COVID as a teacher? That is another brilliant question. The mindset of change. Change.
Change is coming.
Change has come.
Change has come. Sorry, love. Change has come.
Change is here. And so for those, because I know that for a lot of people, change is so hard. They talk change, but they don't make change. So if you're in customer service, like teaching, as you said, your mindset has to change first. And I'm happy that Ayoyinka did the first session on the power of your belief, your mind, thinking. The first thing that you need to embrace is change. And I cannot repeat it enough. I cannot emphasize it enough. So in which areas do you think that I'm talking about change? Areas in terms of, first, how do you even interpret customer service post-COVID? What would customer service look like? What would teaching look like? Okay, is there a way that you can add value to your own teaching that you can add to yourself? So let me jump ahead and say this brings me to the point of being tech savvy. Okay, how ready are you to use what is at your disposal right now to make yourself better as a teacher? So what knowledge have you added to yourself during this COVID as a teacher, so that when you are going in, you are ready for the change that you want to implement? So there's a lot of things to think about, but I reiterate that and say that change is number one thing. How much are you willing to change? And if you say that you're willing to change in your thinking, what are you doing about it now? Not when COVID is here. Not after COVID, because a lot of people are waiting for COVID, but don't realize that post-COVID, a lot of things are going to move fast as well, that you need to be ready to just hit the ground running. So what are we doing right now to ensure that when COVID is over, we are ready? So one of those key things, as Yinka mentioned first earlier, was that you need to know how to be a virtual teacher. How can you leverage on a platform we are using right now to interact with your students, and then to know that your students actually go beyond your own geographical location, and you can actually take on a global network of students. So you are expanding your scope. The opportunity to expand your scope beyond wherever you are right now is there. And through that, you are increasing your customer base. You are increasing your customer service. You are actually the opportunity also to collaborate with people that are not even within your geographical network, to access their own network. So you can grow your own network beyond your geographical network, right? Globally, you can grow your student base, and also you can grow yourself. Now, having said that, I understand that in African countries, there's the challenge of internet and all of that. But then that is where priority comes in. How do you prioritize your use of your data and all that, so that you are focusing more on what is important for you to do and what actually helps you to reach your goal? So let me leave the rest for Yinka to say.
Okay. I see Chuku GK Charity putting up a hand. Try and type, because I don't, like I said, I don't want to give access to talking because I don't know how your microphones are doing. So please chat. If you have a question, just ask the question, even though that will be the last question we'll take now for us to finish the session. But I'll say this, we have 3 webinars before this post-COVID is over. Remember, we're a training institute, and this is our own way of offering support and helping people, be able to pull their thoughts together and probably just be able to have direction as to exactly what they want to do. So we're having a free webinar for teachers. Most likely is going to be on the 4th of May. Mr. Stanley, make sure you attend. And can I say to everybody in attendance, encourage teachers that it's when we're doing this free, it's encouraging where we have people that are there to receive what we're saying. Doing all that research, we need to have an audience. So there's a teachers webinar coming up, refuel, recharge, renew, how to go back. All this virtual teaching will come up. Like we said, you might need to learn how to use a few things, but the truth of the matter is, if you're a teacher there, you should be thinking virtual, whoever you are. If you're serious about your teaching career, if you're serious about increasing your earning power, you need to start thinking virtual. You need to start getting more techie, change your mindset, renew your mind. Like Toluwani said, change is here. Oh, I don't like laptop. I don't even know. I just like blackboard and the chalk. When I just stand in front of the blackboard, I'm just okay. You cannot be okay anymore. Even whiteboard is not going to do it anymore. Online, Google has made life easy. There's a lot of tools out there. I have had to learn. For some people that came on early, I was still being instructed on how to do my webinar. I am learning because I like live classes. I love seeing faces. I would love to see all of you right now and see your beautiful faces and your handsome faces. I love old school. But the truth of the matter is, this is where we're going, speaking to a screen and hoping that I am presenting myself properly. So we'll have more time. So register for that. Like I said, just keep watching out for the notices. But I think the webinar for teachers should be May 4th. It should be the upper Monday or the Friday before, I don't know. But just keep looking out. And the same thing for business people. We have the one of increasing your earning power. So Mr. Akpata, unfortunately, oh, very good. Thank you very much. Mrs. Nwachukwu says, thank you very much, Mrs. Akaumen. Class is not over. Don't go. Mrs. Nwachukwu, there's still a lot you can learn. Chukwu GK Charity is still putting up her hand. I think you should ask your question if there's a question that you are looking to answer. So Mr. Akpata was supposed to take a session on habits of highly productive people. The reason why I wanted us to do this is, it's one thing to have a desire to be highly productive. It's another thing to really be in the mind and be in the mindset to be a highly productive person. And so I want to ask you, and we'll do that. I want you to talk about one key thing that is very important. Yeah, you can come off your screen now. So one key thing that you what's the word, would say makes people highly productive. What would be, are you still with me? What would be the one main thing that makes people highly productive, their habits? Lord, please let internet be on our side. Let internet be on our side. I'm waiting for, okay, while she's coming on. So I want us to take the session like a I ask you question kind of thing. So it's a bit more interactive for people. So I'm saying, in your own opinion, if someone says, I really want to become, a highly productive person, what is the main value? What is the main value as far as you're concerned that this person must have? What's the reality of being a highly productive person?
Okay. Thank you again. And I'm really pleased to be in this webinar. Many useful questions here and many nice comments.
Oh, okay. Go on.
So, being a highly productive person, I discovered a while back that productivity is still relative.
Yeah.
What you term productivity is related to your goals. And what I term productivity is related to my goals, and our goals are completely different. Mm-hmm. All right. So when we talk about productivity, it's simple. What will make me know that I'm getting step by step, day by day, close to where I want to get to? So you will find that has to first and foremost deal with clarity, that I have to be clear where I'm going, first and foremost, for me to be able to say I'm being productive. Because a lot of us that are, maybe not a lot of us, some people, when you say, are you busy? They get really, yes, I'm busy, but I realize that I could be busy and turn around in 1 second, just going around, not actually achieving anything. So I began to map out my own productivity in relation to where exactly I felt that I was going. So that will have to be in relation to my goals.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me put that out there, that there's no productivity, in my opinion, if it's not directly related to your goals. And it doesn't have to be business goals only or career goals. It could be family goals.
Okay.
Okay. It could be spiritual goals. So for me, during this post-COVID, one of the key things that I wanted to really hone in on was my own, the spiritual life of my own family, to make sure that we were on point with some of the things I wanted to do. So for me, achieving that is being productive.
Yeah.
Okay, so because that is in line with my goals.
Okay.
All right. And another thing that I
But
set
if we're going
myself
to take it from, sorry to cut you in, because I want you, Mr. Pata is here now, so he can take a session, but I still want you to say something before you go.
Okay.
If we're going to take it from a work perspective, because
okay, from a work perspective.
From a work perspective, you say, don't be in La La Land, don't be in Dreamland. If you're going to be a highly productive person, what is a no-no? What is a no-no for you?
Okay, so one of the no-nos for me in being productive is not being reflective. I found out that for me, not being reflective means I'm not learning anything.
So can I break that down? That means doing an analysis of yourself, feedback.
Yes, I constantly analyze myself. In fact, it's as bad as in my dream I'm analyzing. That means that, and I'm telling you the truth, because I don't learn unless I'm reflecting on what I said, how I did it. Did I do that webinar properly? Did people get what they wanted to get? Like, so I'm constantly looking at myself.
So in other words, highly productive people constantly review and are ready for feedback.
Yes. And the feedback can come from anywhere. And if you're honest with yourself, you see, you would have given yourself the feedback actually.
Yeah.
Then when people now come to give,
oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. We're having a disconnect from Mr. Pata. Are you there?
Constantly checking in. How did I, all right, where did I fall short? What do I need to learn? And it has brought me so far because it has helped me to see where I'm falling short, where I'm not good at all. So
yes.
Where I am not good at all now, I'm wasting my time. I get somebody else to help me out.
I like that. I like that. I'll get somebody else to, but that is not today. Maybe when we're doing the business webinar, you'll come back, but that is not, because for a lot of people, when they see they don't know how to do something, getting somebody to sort them out is a no-no.
Well, that means that they're not going to be productive. It's a very simple thing.
Yes.
It's very simple. Remember last time, Yinka, I did say to you, I said we spoke for over an hour.
Yes.
And you were saying, Toluwani, Toluwani, And because I trust your judgment, I was able to be vulnerable.
Yes. Yes.
I'm saying, look, it's for me. You're doing it for me. So you were helping me reflect on the things that I've done and to help me also move forward in the things that I need to do. Yes. So you were helping me with the information I was giving you, were helping me look back at the things. You were asking me questions. So when you were doing this, what happened? And you remember talking about getting our mojo back. Because these are reflections. These are ways you become productive.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't want to, because Mr. Pata is here, thank God. I don't want to talk more than that. But for me, it has every area of my life is reflection.
Okay.
Reviewing, analyzing.
I agree with you totally. And it's the way to go, because if you don't get feedback, how are you going to know where next you're going? Really. Absolutely. It's just that people don't like feedback. And I think if you are there, one of the things you want to embrace, fall in love with, your customers' feedback. Whoever you're in a business relationship with, you want the feedback. In your marriage, you want the feedback from your partner. With your children, you want the feedback. From your parents, you want the feedback. That's the only way you're going to be able to be productive in their lives. So, Mr. Pata, are you there? I've enabled everything. I don't know. Internet must be really bad. Can you hear me?
Internet is something.
Oh.
He was here a few seconds ago.
Yes. It looks like it's struggling. Okay, maybe what I can do is, since it's here, let's see whether internet will get better. I can just go ahead and do my session. Toluwani, if you still want to stay on, it's been great.
Thank you so much.
Everybody, wherever you are, please clap for Toluwani. She's coming back. She'll come back. She's doing this pro bono. She's my friend, and she's great. She's great. Check her out on Instagram and Facebook. She's starting something she's calling Talk Active. I think it's going to be on YouTube. She's a fantastic orator. She communicates wonderfully. She has a passion for people getting better. Information is never too much. You never learn too much. So check her out on Facebook. Follow her, see what she's doing. Yes, she will follow you too. Don't worry, we all want to be followed. So you follow her, she will follow you. Yes? She will still be here. I want to believe she's frozen as well. Oh God, please don't let everybody freeze. Okay? I want to believe that you still be here so that when question and answer, but I don't want to hold you down.
No, it's fine. I'll still be off and on. I'm having meetings, but I will have
okay,
my
so
ear
just on video yourself so you don't distract
and I'll
us.
mute myself as well.
But if we need you, I'll call you if we have to do question and answers with you. Okay, so I'm hoping that Mr. Pata can come on so he can do his session. But if he cannot, I'm going to quickly go to that word, becoming smart. How to be highly productive is a very juicy topic, and I would really love for us to. Oh, he's here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, good stuff. Thank God for that. Okay, so you're on is your session. Toluwani already spoke about reviewing oneself and giving feedback. So please take it on. Thank you, Mrs. Uboko, for thanking Mrs. Akaumen. Thank you. Okay, I can see my people there. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see you guys. Okay. Internet is blessed. Are we here? It's like a piano is playing somewhere. Okay, Mrs. Nwachukwu, just send us a mail, or if you follow us on TEACH2ENDUE, just leave a message. Either you leave a message on Facebook with your details, we'll get back to you, or you leave a message on Instagram, whichever way, you know, we'll get back to you. Or send us an email, okay? And say for the attention of Mrs. Owairo, I will get it. I will get it. Okay, all right. While Mr. Pata is still sorting his internet, I wanted us to look at and I will share my screen with you once again. So while Mr. Pata is getting himself, I will share my screen. And you know, we ended with sharpening your axe. I want to believe that everything is coming together the way we started, because when you look at what Toluwani has been speaking about, it's that you must be ready. You must be aware of what the possible fallouts are, and you be ready. So where I am going to is, why is my system not moving? Okay, so where I'm going to is smart lazy or busy. Smart lazy is a word I coined for myself because I'm all of a sudden realizing that there's a part of laziness that we all want to take on board in our minds when we're thinking about how to be productive. Now, look at that, keep that in mind. So I'm asking, do you want to be smart and lazy? Lazy in quotes, because lazy is not a positive word. But by the time we finish this session, you will sort of understand what I mean by that. Or you just want to be a busy person who works, you know, who's working hard. And so I have this here. Let me move this here. That productivity, when you're talking about productivity, is simply being efficient and effective. That's it. Now, what I've found, like I say a lot of the times is, and changes here, whether we like it or not, if we do not put action to what we know, the information we have, if we do not interpret it into action, then at the end of the day, it cannot bear fruits. It cannot take you to the next level. It cannot add capacity to you. So being productive with analysis, and you know, you can, whenever we have any of the other trainings, efficiency, we can't go into it. I've broken it down. It's just simply saying efficiency plus effectiveness. Now, what does that mean? Don't know why. Okay, so quickly, efficiency is doing things right. Now, people that are efficient, now what we're saying is productive people are efficient and they're effective. Productive people are efficient and they're effective. Now, you can be efficient and not be effective, and you can be effective and not be efficient. And if there's an imbalance, then a lot of the times what happens to you when you're getting feedback, I remember we're talking across board, because what you do at work, the way your mindset is with work is probably the way you attend to other things. So productivity is getting work done, is completing a task. So you're not only productive in your work, you're productive in relationships as well. So you are having let's talk about spouse. Your husband has told you to do something. When you don't get the job done well, you've not been productive, and he has a right to give you feedback, or she has a right to give you feedback. And what happens is we're upset at the end of the day. Just the same thing at work. So really, what does being productive mean? It means delivering. It means delivering results. I think I put it here. We can go back and look at it. I said, productivity is to get work done in the shortest possible time with result. Get the work done. Now, work is not done if it is not specific to what was asked to be done. What was the task? So I gave an example to explain this. So on a Friday, you get an email from your superior saying, on Monday morning, please send me an email of your sales report and send the cost analysis. So this is what an efficient person will do. They will send the cost analysis, they will send the sales report on, okay, sorry, I didn't finish, on Monday by 12 noon. So send me your sales report, your cost analysis report by 12 noon on Monday morning. The efficient person, right, will send the cost analysis and will send the sales report, but they might send it at 3 p.m. Now, the effective person will send at 12, but might send just the cost analysis without the sales report. Whichever way, you didn't deliver, because the mail said, send me a mail by Monday, 12 noon, sales report and cost analysis. The moment you do not achieve the goal, you did not complete the task. You did not get the job done. And your superior, your team leader, your husband, your spouse, your family, your friend has a right to give you feedback to say, you didn't do it. Now, what gets us upset is the mode of business. We've been busy. I ran up and down. I worked. I was working hard. Why are you telling me I am not being productive at this time? Because for productive people, you have to understand that it is being efficient and being effective. And I broke it down. So even at home, remember we're saying you have to stay productive, spirit, body, and soul. You have people in your home that you're taking care of, your children, your husband, everything around you. At this, you cannot leave one for the other. Highly productive across board. So what does efficiency mean? Doing the right things. There's a process. So you're cleaning your house, dust first, then sweep, then mop, then what else do we do? You're not here to throw the words at me. I love it when they throw words at me. But let me say, okay, the process: you dust, you mop, you sweep, you mop, and then you sweep and you mop and you don't dust. You know you've worked hard, you've swept, you've mopped, but maybe your husband comes in, or your boss comes in and goes like that on the tabletop and is like, "What have you been doing all day?" And the inflation comes up. So highly productive people always focus on process. They stay with the process. They will tidy. They might not finish in good time, but they will do things right. Mop, dust, sweep, and mop. I'm just using examples across board. So their focus is always on process and how well things are done. See, when we say we're building character, when we're saying we want to become a better version of ourselves, is that we're adopting new values, both for business, for your career, for your family life, for your personal life. You have to build character. And so for efficient people, they're very diligent. I was saying in the beginning, I said, hard work might not take you before kings, because hard work you can be doing the wrong things and you're working hard. And that's what we do sometimes at our place of work, or even in our own private things that we're doing. We are busy, we're working hard, but we're not really productive. And you know, we said there will still be another webinar on increasing your earning power. One of the values you must have to increase your earning power is that you must be productive. And that simply means you get the job done. You get the job done. How? In the shortest possible time with the most limited of resources. Okay, so efficient people are diligent, they're focused, they focus on things, they know processes. Okay, they're committed. When they start something, they finish it. And they're very creative, they're very accurate, and they're very curious. Let me move on. So what about effectiveness? Is doing the right thing. The first one is doing things right. So the second one, effectiveness, is doing the right thing. So let me go back to the email. The effective person will send that email by 12 noon, but the cost analysis might not be there. So they are more focused on timing. They're more focused on the goal. Let me just do it. How well it is done, they don't pay attention to it. Now, whichever way, when you want to define productivity for highly productive people, let me put it that way, is that you're doing things right at the right time. You're doing the right things at the right time, or you're doing things right at the right time, whichever way you want to put it. So effectiveness is doing the right thing. Efficiency is doing things right. You're doing things right at the right time. So for effective people, so you can be effective and not be efficient. You always meet deadlines, but there's always a complaint. So your eyes are always on how quickly do I meet my deadline. But the process, the beauty of your job, the seamlessness of your job, the quality, that's it. The quality of your job, you don't pay much attention to it. So for you to be at this webinar is because you have a desire to be highly productive. Guys, the bottom line is effectiveness and efficiency must tie. You must have the two. You can't have one at the other. If you have one and not the other, you'll be angry a lot of the times at work because you've worked hard. You've put in a lot of time, and then you're getting the feedback. What have you been doing? If you check yourself from now on, if you check yourself, oh, that's it. I didn't do it properly. Or, oh, that's it. I didn't submit it on time. I did it properly, but not on time. Or I submitted it on time, but I didn't do it properly. It is always one or the other. What are the key characters of highly effective people? They manage time. They're very good with time management. They want to deliver. They want to give it to you at that time. They're very fast. They can be accurate as well, and they're very organized. You know, we're talking about smart lazy now. So look at this quote for me so that we can see. I don't know whether Mr. Pata will still come on. Improved productivity means less human sweat, not more. This is where I am going. Because the more highly productive you are, the less sweat you should, what's the English word I'm looking for? The less sweat that you should give out. Let me put it out. That's the word that's coming to me right now. Let's go back to the story of the two woodcutters in the forest. So John and Peter. Peter was slamming away, double effort, 80% effort. No result, 20% result. Meanwhile, John was putting in 20% effort and he got 80% result. How? Because highly productive people always look for new ways. Improved productivity means less human sweat, not more. Remember, we've said it. You must sharpen your axe. You must increase your capacity. When you're highly productive people don't stay on the one ball and say, oh, this is where I am going to be, because there's something new every day. Okay? So I'm tying this together. You know, we're saying, is it smart lazy? Who are smart people? Is smart character? Are people born being smart? Are people born being intelligent? No. Being lazy is actually a habit. Being lazy is actually a habit. Google it. It's actually a habit. And anything that is a habit can be unlearned. Anything that is a habit can be unlearned. Remember, our byline for Teach to Endure is renew, relearn, learn, unlearn. We didn't put unlearn, but that's the plan. We help you to unlearn. We show you what you need to unlearn. So laziness can be in the mind. It can be in the body. But the reason why I brought up lazy is because in a way, efficient people can be lazy because they're always looking for the fastest way. They're always looking for new ways. They're always looking for processes. Let me give you an example. So you are the person that, I'm conscious of the time as well. You are the person that writes letters in your place of work. And because, let me say HR, and you have to write letters to 3 groups of people. Let me use a school. I'm used to schools. You need to write a letter to parent. You need to write a letter. Okay, you need to write letters to parents concerning 3 types of children. Children that have behavioral issues, children that have academic issues, and just follow up, right? Now, a lazy, the hard work, please get this, because I'm not encouraging laziness. I'm just trying to show you something. If I were to write, okay, let me ask it this way, the question, which is faster and which is smarter? That one letter does the 3, can be sent to the 3 people, or I write 3 letters. Remember, efficient people are always looking for processes that work. They're always looking for a better way to do things. They're always searching. They're always investigating. That is what you do. That I look for one letter that can serve all these people that I want to write a letter to, that I want to send a letter to. That's what you do. It seems lazy. It's a lazy mindset in a way, because you're saying, instead of me doing 3 letters, let me do 1 letter. But I don't even know how to write this letter. So smart people are never admit that they don't know. We're coming to smart, okay? So I don't know how to write this 1 letter that will take care of 3 people. Let me find out. Let me learn. So it's a lazy mindset. It's a lazy motivation, not mindset. That's where we're going. It's a lazy motivation that pushes efficient people to look for processes that cuts down the time. And that's why they say you can do something you do in 3 hours in less the time if you would look for the process, if you will find a new process, if you will find a new routine. The key word is if you find. So a lot of the times when we stay with our old processes, we get the same results. It would be like like Peter in the forest, who kept on knocking, trying to cut down a tree with a blunt axe, because it's an old process. So you'll be working hard, you're there, and you'll be so busy. But the feedback you get at the end of the day is that you are not delivering. Key thing, you need to renew your mind all the time. You need to become more efficient. Efficient people are always looking for new ways, new things, new processes. What is a process? If I do A and I do B and I do C, I will get D. It works. Even for Mrs. Nwachukwu, it works there. How do I do people's hair in less than an hour? It's online. What are the tricks I can do? Can I mix some things down before? When they're coming to retouch their hair, is it when they come? People are offering a lot of free knowledge online. So sharpening your axe that we spoke about in the beginning is that you are on top of your game. For as long as you're not on top of your game, you're not renewing your mind constantly, you're not finding out what is going on, you are playing games. You will just find out that time is going, and you're not achieving the goals you've set for yourself. Dreams and goals that are set without a plan of action, without a strategy to achieve it, is a daydream. Oh, I dream to be this. Change, like Toluwani said, change. You've got to change a lot of things. So busyness is having a lot of things to do. I'm busy, a lot of hard work. But do you know, like I said, you can be hardworking and not be productive because you're not getting your priorities right. Because you're not doing like the email example I gave. So busy and hard work, or I'm smart with a lazy motivation. I want to get to work today and I want to clear my table. I want to clear my table. What's the best way? So instead of diving straight into work, you take an hour to go online and start asking, if I want to do a report, in what are the ways? And information is right there in your face. What are you doing? You're sharpening your axe because you want to do something of 3 hours in less than 3 hours. Smart people are curious. Remember what we said about efficient people? They're curious people. People that set processes in place, they're always curious. They're always wondering. That's the key word. They're always wondering, what if? What if I do it like this? What if I do it like that? And what happens a lot of the times with us is we're just satisfied with the way we're doing it currently. We don't want it to change. You don't want to tweak anything. You know what? Let me just continue this way. But you keep getting the same feedback. And a lot of the times, what happens is in your own private corner, in your own private time, you know that you're not where you want to be. These are the times, especially with this post-COVID thing and all the fallout, we're all going to have to be ready to reorientate our minds and look for processes. Business owners, teachers, anybody in any workplace, online, trainers like ourselves, I'm having to reorientate my mind as to how to go forward. This is part of why we're having a webinar. Before, I would love the idea of a live class. If we're not complete, then it's not going to happen. So smart is displaying, to be smart is to display and apply intelligence or knowledge. It is being curious. It is being creative. You should check yourself if you've not created something new in a week. And when I mean creative, it's not so much as starting something newly and, just building something up. No, even with that thing, maybe a particular way you've operated for so long, you can recreate it. You can decide, you know what, if I don't start from ABC, let me do CBA and see what that is going to be like. And that's what you have there. Smart people, they take risks and they're not afraid. They're not afraid to admit they don't know. Very key. Toluwani was saying just now that part of what highly productive people do is that they check themselves. Another thing we do that can create hard work is we don't communicate. So you're told to, let me use the email. You get the email. Please send me your cost analysis and your sales report by Monday by 12 noon. You don't understand the cost analysis report. But you sit down there and work, do all sorts. And then on Monday, let's even say you're highly productive. You understand? You submit on time, but by the time you submit, you're getting the feedback that it wasn't well done. All you had to say, you will never find it anywhere that highly productive people cannot ask questions, or they can't misunderstand something, or they can't confirm an instruction. You won't find it anywhere. I don't understand. Immediately send a mail back. Can you please give me a guideline on how to do the cost analysis? Because that is not an indication of productivity or non-productivity. So we define intelligence, the ability, when I was researching, intelligence is not a characteristic. It's not, nobody is born with intelligence, apparently. It's an ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Now, being smart is the ability to apply this intelligence to everything you're doing. So if they're saying smart is the new lazy, what we all want to do is become smart. And what it means to become smart is that we constantly are looking for ways to cut down processes, to use limited resources, and to do on time. The ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Fantastic. I am so excited. I was so excited when I saw this intelligence that, okay, I can raise my IQ to any level I want to raise it to. I am not born with intelligence. It's something that can be acquired. Okay, so we just round up with that. Being the smart lazy is to 4, so that we can finish at 4. I don't know, Mr. Akpata, I still don't have in here. But being smart is something that is grown and cultivated. So now know that what I want you to take away from today, putting it holistically, is first thing, go and propose. Make up your mind today. If you've not, make up your mind from this moment what you want to happen for you, even after post-COVID. Remember, we said propose, plan. Plan means see the picture, have a big picture, and start to prepare yourself. Preparation is part of what you're doing. But there's no point going for webinars and trainings when you're going to hear something that you're not ready to work with, that you're just going to throw away and be like, you know what, it's not worth my while. What are they saying? The truth of the matter is, every time people are talking about highly productive people, it's the same thing that is being said over and over again. So we're renewing our minds today, we're relearning, and we're learning. So let's be smart. Let's be the new smart lazy. Rather than how can I challenge myself when I'm at work? It's so much. This is what is happening to me. Like I said, sometimes you might want to sit down with somebody that is a professional. Can you look at my work schedule? Can you look at what I'm doing? These are my processes. These are my strategies. Can you tell me what is wrong with it? Remember, be ready for feedback. And I'm sure, and a lot of the times, people who are managers or administrators can help you with such things, because putting schedules in place and setting goals will be part of what they know to do. So you want to find out how to do that. Like I said as well, look out for all the free resources we have. You can go online and check. The other thing is that on our website for soft skills, because we're talking mostly about soft skills, find out, we're doing a lot of sales at this time because of this present COVID times. Find out what you need. There's sales going on, 5,000 classes, you know, just find out what you need and try and expose yourself, sharpen your axe where you know there's a weakness. Take a SWOT analysis, like Toluwani said. Okay, being smart is the ability to focus, concentrate, and communicate. Okay, I'm not going to round off with this. Let me just stop sharing at this point. We'll come back to that. What we'll do is we can take some questions and answers. Mr. Pata, it seems we've lost him completely, but I'll just talk about, if you have any questions on what I've said, please just type and ask the question in terms of processes. If you don't have a clear understanding, remember, smart people are not afraid to ask, what do you mean? So from that session, I can take 2 questions from there, and we'll run with that. But before that, I'll just try and do something with Mr. Kota's session so that we can go away with that. I'll only mention, I think I've sort of mentioned habits of highly productive people, really. Maybe the next time it will be a Zoom class when it's a training. Is much more interesting because at Zoom classes, we can see each other's faces and we can have questions. Let me see, I have some questions here. I've answered Mrs. Nwachuku. Mr. Olatoido, are the habits of productive people self-exhaustive, or does a person aspiring to be productive require both tips and habits? Answer live. Are the habits of productive people self-exhaustive, or does a person aspiring to be... Okay, so I'm answering that. Now, Mrs. Akaumen, if you're still there, I would want you to come back. So we can do question and answer. So you can add your own. Okay, you can add your own answer to it. So we'll finish off the session by talking about, you know, productive people. So Mr. Olato, you just asked that, you know, when you continuously, you heard the question. You heard the question? Yes. Would you want to answer that?
Okay, so it made, I think what it's asking is the difference really between habits and tips.
Yes.
Right? So are the habits of productive self-exhaustive? I wouldn't say self-exhaustive. So let me just say that, and I'll come back to that. And does the person that's
is it ever exhaustive though?
It's no.
Never.
I wouldn't say it is.
Because what it is once you get to a level, there's another level.
Yes.
And there's new lessons to be learned.
We are always learning. We are lifelong learners, or we should be lifelong learners. And that's what part of being smart means, that we are lifelong learners. So there's nothing I'll be, let's not use the word self-exhaustive, because that in itself connotes, it has a negative implication, okay? But let's say that productive people are people that are always wanting to improve.
Yeah, always searching.
Are ready to learn at every point in time. And they are smart people because they always, you know, they're always open. They wanting to be vulnerable about what they don't know. So it's not about being self-exhaustive, but about seeking to be better. Because the moment you set yourself up to be a continuous learner, you're also setting yourself up to be somebody that is valuable, okay, yep, in different contexts and different environments. Mm-hmm. So when people see you, they know that you bring something to the table. Okay, and a lot of times when we are privileged to come in contact with people, the reason why people will continue to come to us and will see the benefits in being influenced by us, and that is leadership.
Yeah.
is because they see that we have something we brought to their table. When they come in contact with us, their lives change in one way or the other.
So just to reiterate what you're saying, in other words, the tendency to become a leader when you're highly productive is there.
It is there.
And people want to come and take from you.
They see the value, because you're always bringing value to people, and they want to be part of that. And the moment they are part of that and continually part of that, you gain more influence in their lives.
Yes.
You become more influential. I mean, you are one of the people that are influencers in my life, and I'm sure I'm one of the people that are influencers in your life, because we continually rub off one another.
From each other, yes.
And that's how it is, because we are both given to productivity and continuous learning.
Yes, oh, definitely.
You said to me, Toluwani, you're going to do this Zoom, this podcast. We're talking about the last day, and I'm saying, Yinka, you need to help me with this.
Yes.
So that's habits of highly productive people. So let me come to the second part of the question, because you have other questions we have to answer. Mm-hmm. So does a person that's aspiring to be productive require both tips and habits? So essentially asking, what are the differences between tips and habits? Now, habits are those lifestyle traits that we imbibe, and that becomes a part of us, that allows us to live our lives as maximally as possible. And I'll tell you what I mean. So there are 3 things that I believe are necessary for success, and that's that makes for habits. That's how habits are formed. So there's the knowing part, there is the doing part, and there is the being part.
Yeah.
So when we talk about habits, we're saying that we have progressed beyond the knowledge, to the doing, and then the doing becomes the being. So that is where the habits are.
And if you look at the definition, see, sometimes my life is transformed from a definition. Smart means me applying knowledge that I have gotten to everything I do. So why would I not want to seek information to become a smart person? Why wouldn't I want to do that?
Absolutely.
The power lies in our hands, really.
It does.
Because intelligence is supposed to be acquiring ability through knowledge and skills. So we can all be super intelligent.
And we can.
And we can be super smart.
We can. And I think I was sharing with my family the other day. I said, there's nobody that can be that's not intelligent.
Yeah.
It is our different ways of intelligence that matters.
Yes.
So the potential lies in everyone to be at their maximal best.
Maximum.
Every way. So the habits are those things that you acquire through the knowing and the doing and the being. Okay, so there's a progression there. I go from knowing that I ought to exercise to actually doing it.
To doing it and then losing the weight. Yeah.
The lifestyle of exercises.
Yeah.
Me, I'm still in the doing.
You can see my exercises showing, can't you?
Not yet.
Sorry, guys, I couldn't help but do that. It was when she said exercising becomes, because it's true, you need to exercise. Then you're sitting down there, you're not doing the exercise, and you just want the results. It's not done anymore.
And those are the habits. So for someone like my husband, who is an exercise person, it's a habit for him. It's a lifestyle for him.
Yeah.
For me, it's not a lifestyle. I struggle. I'd rather be dancing than walking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So or I'd rather be walking than running. That kind of way. So,
but at least you're doing something.
Something, Sha. So that's for my husband, exercising will be a habit.
Yes.
Okay.
But we can learn habits though. That's the point.
It becomes a lifestyle.
It becomes a lifestyle. When it's a lifestyle, then it's a habit.
Then it's a habit. So
yes.
For me, being reflective is a habit.
Yes.
That's why I said I reflect even in my dreams.
Yeah.
I wake up with a sense of my reflection, because for me, it's a habit.
Yeah.
Right? For other people, it's something they have to start to do, and then they progress on to being like that.
Yeah.
No. Now, for tips now, those are
suggestions.
Yes.
Suggestions.
Moments, things we get, here and say, oh, I might try that. That could work.
Yeah.
So tips really are sometimes based on nuggets, like you shared earlier, that people get, from someone else. Oh, yeah, there's an element of
something there. Okay. Let's not lose Mrs. Akalman, God, please. Okay. I think we more or less taking care of that question, Mr. Olato. Okay.
I hope we've answered your question, Mr. Olato.
Yes. So I was saying to him that I think we've answered that to a point. Let me look. There's another Q&A here. Okay, we've answered that. So let me say done. We've answered that. So it's not.
Mr. Stanley Ayemi Taju.
Yes.
A question here.
Yes. It says, what is the place of conscious competence in relation to productivity?
I love that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Anytime, you've even answered your own question, because conscious competence is you know, when you're consciously, you want to be competent, you're going to be productive, more or less. Toluwani.
Yeah, I like that question because it's, as you said, he knows what he's talking about. So maybe he wants to put it on the spot. Okay. So conscious competence really is you're still at the stage of you have gone beyond the knowing, you have gone to the doing, but you're not an expert yet. So you are not at the point of being. So you are consciously, it doesn't mean that you're not productive, but it doesn't, you actually
means you're setting levels for yourself.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Okay, 5G is a present because there's a lot going on, so I will not even go there at all about 5G, but we need something that will help us to get our thing, technology straight in terms of internet. Anyway, so okay, she's back here.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
So
we missed everything you said.
The level of unconscious competence is that level where productivity has become a lifestyle, where you know the things you do, it just flows out of you. You know what to do. People, you don't need anybody cajoling you or say, you should be doing that. You know what to do that enables or facilitates your own productivity. So that's a level of unconscious competence. Okay, it's like me driving to my house. I drive to my house consciously, competently.
Yeah.
But when we're still at the stage of conscious competence, we know what to do, you know, and we work at it. There's still a bit of struggle. We know the right thing to do, and then we strive to ensure that we stay on point, we stay doing it.
Okay, I'll probably just add, I'm very familiar with Mr. Yenitaju, and I'll just remind him that there was the summit we had at the beginning of the year. We had a guest speaker, and if you remember, she talked about technical competence, management competence, and ownership. I mean, business competence or ownership competence. And what you're asking in this regard is, see, when you're still at the level of technical competence, like Toluwani is saying, it's a level of knowing. It's a level of you've dug out information. You know you're finding out information. You're empowering yourself with new skills, and you're applying it. You're consciously making yourself competent because there's a goal of productivity. When you finally say that you've left because Toluwani said something about when you're at unconscious competence is when it just flows. And remember that what you do as a lifestyle, what is a habit, what you do consistently becomes part and parcel of you. It can also be related to increased capacity. The more you do something, the more you are able to do of that particular thing. So yes, you consciously must get competent. You consciously must have information that you apply. When you do that, you go to the level of management. That's when, give an example, I don't know off the top of my head now, you start, the person comes into the establishment as what am I going to use? As in HR, as an officer. Okay, maybe you're the one still doing filing, or you're still the one gathering on information, and that's where promotion comes from. And then before you know it, this person is promoted to assistant supervisor. Before you know it, this person is promoted to supervisor. Am I right? And then before you know it, this person is allowed to manage the whole office, because you see the competence they needed to do the job they came in on earlier. It's just they're not even consciously trying anymore. It's something they can do. I'm aware, okay, let me say, for example, let me use teaching. Lesson notes. It's just, you're not conscious when you're writing lesson notes anymore, because it's part and parcel of you. If they blindfold, you're just writing lesson notes. depending. But where it is where I also believe that conscious and unconscious can also be, it can shift. Because, you know, Toluwani, if you can hear me, you might have gotten to a point in your life that you do things seamlessly, but there's new in the field. And that's why you have to keep learning. Because if you don't learn, you're going to go back to conscious competence until you learn what you're doing. Let me take, for example, what we are doing now as online. I'm really consciously competent when it comes to these online matters right now. It's not seamless. It's not coming, you know, out on its own. So it's levels, is desiring, is deciding where you want to be and being able to reflect and put your pulse on it. This is where I am right now with this. So this one I'm all, wow, what just happened? Oh dear. Okay, let's see. Is everyone still there? I think I lost. Can you hear me?
Yes, everyone is still here. Everyone is in here.
Okay, so we must have lost contact, but you know, so we can round up. I think we've taken Mr. Yenitaju's question. So we'll just try and round up. Toluwani, I'm going to ask you another question, although I think, you know, I've mentioned it in terms of, and I think that's where Mr. Idowu was saying tips and what tips, now we're coming to suggestions. You've said one of the habits is reflective, so we can round off if there are other questions. What tips would you give? What tips would you give to someone today to start doing that has helped you in your own career? Because I'm aware you do so many things at the same time. I am aware. You run an online college, you're a doctoral student, you have Vantage Dimensions, you have Inspired Network, you're doing talk shows.
I have my family.
You have your family, you have your husband, you have your children. How do you do it? Give us 3 tips. Do you understand? It doesn't, see, what it is with participants is you decide, anytime you go for training, it's a decision, really. It's a decision what you decide to adopt, is a decision what you decide to take on board. But what I've always done, because the same way we are offering this as a support is the same way we are also going to other bodies to get trained. I still go, and it's my choice. If I have a Harvard professor training me and he tells me, Toluwani, are you with me? And he tells me, let me use conscious competence as an example. He's an Harvard professor and he tells me, technical competence is not the way you used to think about it anymore. Not it is X, Y, Z. Would it be wise of me to leave that training thinking, what's the saying? It can't be. If I'm serious, I have to take on board the XYZ is spoken about and go start chewing on it, because he has the expertise, the competence that I am looking for. And so that's part of it as well. That's part of the tips I would give. That, see, in life, you have to recognize where you are at, one, like Toluwani said, and where you're going and who can help you get there. And when you meet people that you feel, you have to choose. You have to choose who you want to trust. You have to choose who you want to listen to. But when you've chosen these people and based on you've made a choice, you then have to listen. Even if you don't really trust in what is being said, go chew on it. Go meditate on it. Go play around with it and see what is going to come up. So I'm going to say to Toluwani, what would be your tips? And then I share mine, we look at questions, and then it would have been a great day at the end of it.
So I'm sharing from my own personal experience, is that I make use of my support network.
Okay.
A lot, and I help them to see their value in what I'm doing and who I become. So I have a strong support network in my family here. Okay, my husband, my children. So I allow myself to rest and lean on that support network, because a lot of people see productive people, highly performing people, whatever you want to call them, and they think that they are doing it all by themselves, but they are not. Well, maybe they are. I am not.
I am not.
I am not, because I couldn't do 3/4 of the things that I do without my husband's support, because he supports me a lot, especially things that I know that I don't do well, and he does better. And my children.
I like that. And I want to say in this instance that you know, sometimes some people are in marriages that they're not blessed to have their partners support them. But the most important thing is that you have a support system. You must have a support system.
Yeah.
I like what you said, and I want to, you know, go back to that. It helps you to do what you don't know to do. So would it make sense that part of the people in your support group should be people who know the things you don't know?
Absolutely. And I suppose that is just part of being productive, to be honest. You know, that you are open to that. It's fallacy to think that you can do it all, or to give the people the impression that you can do it all. You're not everything and all of that.
Corrected, or you don't want to be helped, or you don't want to.
No, you're not. And it's knowing that yourself. And I think in my family, we've worked out who does what best, you know, and it works for us.
Okay.
You know, and for me, that is really my own. If I'm productive, I'm doing well, or whatever I'm doing, is because I have that support,
you have a support system. Okay.
And it's there. And that is one tip that I always suggest to people: find out what works for you. Don't try or put up a front to make people feel that you can do it all, you've got it all together and all that. But there's some things that you don't do well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and if you are open with the members of your family about that,
they will support you.
Them and in what ways you need them, they will be there to support.
I totally agree, because if you have a lot of work schedule, if work is, you know, getting you down, it would go a long way if your family would just step in and, you know, take off some of the house chores that you have to do, enable you time to do, you know, work business or whatever it is that you have as a task at that present time to get it done. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that sometimes, a lot of times, it's not because they don't want to help us, because we want to have that facade that
we're capable.
I'm great.
Okay. You know? What else would you say?
Number two is I'm getting to understand the value of my network.
Okay.
You know, and what I mean is not in terms of my family now, but my other colleagues, my friends, all of those that surround me, and how to make use of them.
Okay.
For how to work with them. So I don't chat with people for no reason, you know, wasting my time. Of course, we can have chats and all that, but then I have been able to identify those I know that can help me get to where I
from them.
Yes, that can help me. Okay, so for me, that's another tip, that I am constantly.
Choose your friends carefully. Make sure you're surrounded by people who want the same things you want and can help you.
They want the same thing I want, and they want my success. You know,
yes.
And it's just like my friend last night. A friend of mine last night, and she's the financial guru, and I was filling the form, and she said, "And the carpets." I said, "And the carpets." I thought we're talking financial. I said, "Carpets." I said,
she threw a lingo you didn't understand.
Is it in finance? I said, please, what is carpets? I thought it was carpet for floor.
For floor. Obviously, it was something that meant something. Capital expenditure. Wow.
So,
wow.
You know, those are the people that add value to me.
Yes.
And I don't take her lightly. So for me, that's important, being able to link up with the right people, adding that to my network. All right, whether they be in South Africa, in the US and all that, and being able to
network. And these are the times that globally you can network with people. It's a matter of LinkedIn, is Instagram. You follow them, you like their content, they follow you, they like your content. You can make friends globally now without even having met. Yeah, there's a lot of hubs all over the internet, teachers, for whatever kind of profession one is in, lawyers, bankers. There's different hubs online right now that, you know, you actually, and people are giving testimonies of, oh, we met online. I've not met her, but we've done business and then we're just meeting. So, you know, the global thing is really more enabling for me. You know, if you can get over the addiction of wasting time on Facebook and Instagram, social media has got so much more to offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's being able to increase the value in what I call your social capital.
Okay.
Increase the social capital.
Increasing your value as per social capital, as in the relevance of who you are.
Exactly. And the third thing is what you mentioned earlier, is working smartly. Working smartly. And that for me is just efficiency.
Yeah.
I can be effective in many ways, but I know that I'm constantly keeping tabs on what am I wasting time on? You know, I have a terrible habit of keeping things so much that when I want to start to look for them, so I began to calculate how much time I spend
looking for
things I should not be looking for. You know, I'm just calculating how much time do I really spend doing that. I realized that I actually spend a good chunk of time, you know, if I'm going to calculate it on maybe a weekly basis, that I could spend quite a few hours just looking for this, looking for that. So right now I'm devising, you know, a different way of doing things.
I like that. You're creating a new way.
The one that works for me, you know.
That will work better. Less time wasted.
I can be more efficient. Because I know how to do, I know how to simplify my processes. So I have templates for this and templates for that. But then when it comes to some things that I should just have at my fingertips, I'm looking for them.
And so, you know, from what you're saying, what it simply means, see, it's just being creative, like they've said. It's just having an open mind. And off the top of my head, what I just think is buy a box, buy, you know, and just make sure you begin to tell your mind, drop it there. Tell your mind, drop it there. And every time you're looking, your first go-to, and when you have 3 points like that in your home, it'll be really difficult for it not to be. But it starts with the mind. You training your mind that I've got to do it that way. And it's really more of training the mind than anything else at this point.
So that is why in this COVID, I'm trying to develop myself that way. Like I'm not looking for this. I know where this and where that. It's very things that I know that
I like that.
I would need.
Okay.
Those three things.
Yes. Yes. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much, Toluwani. We can entertain one or two more questions, but if not, we'll round up. And I'll just round up by saying this, that the objective, like I said, behind us doing this webinar is just, we know that this is a time that a lot of people can be confused. A lot of people are wondering what next, what is going to happen. And what this webinar is meant to have done for you is just give you a, readjustment to come back to stay on course. This is a distraction that is going to go away. Now, when this distraction goes away and you've not added, because from everything we're hearing, people pay for value. People pay for your values. They don't pay, people pay for your capacity. People pay for what you know to do. So even in terms of tips on increasing your earning power, she said it looks like probably, sometimes when people come from training, they want you to say, okay, go and invest in this business, go and do this multi-level marketing. They can't give you such advice because different people with different ways that challenges come their way. So if I say to you now, there's this multi-level marketing, go get it done. It's not the same way that it works for me that it's going to work for you. So a lot of the times when people want to give you financial advice, especially when it has to do with your finances, they talk about the values that are underlying, that once you adopt those values, what begins to manifest is becoming, like she said, the knowing, you know it, you begin to do it, and then you have it. So we hope that, I hope from us as a team that we've been able to help you with that. Go start, preparing yourself for when post-COVID is over. Think of what you can do present time that can help you. You already know. That's the thing. We do know where we need a bit more help or we need to pay a bit more attention. We do know. And so note all that down. With your family, do a bit more, because we're talking about productivity. Remember, it's getting the job done. But I know that for a lot of people, it's more the workplace. But I tell you, if you are okay in your mind and in your spirit and in your body, work will be fine. So pick up a few tips we've said today. If nothing else, learn processes. Go learn how to, define your own job roles into processes, whatever it is you do. I don't have your details. I don't know who is who that I'm speaking to, but I believe that we all have one common desire. We want to do well when this time is over. We want to keep being highly productive, and we want to have the best kind of life we could ever want. And so for every one of it, prepare yourself, renew your mind spiritually, make sure you're exercising, make sure you're eating right. You will have more energy. The more energy you have, the more time you can spend sharpening your axe. Always remember that figure. If you don't remember anything else, remember those two guys. How can I do what I'm doing in less the time? You want to keep searching. Now, like we said, we can't tell you everything at this webinar. Look out for other webinars and attend. We have some free downloads. Check it. There's a newsletter on our website. We're doing websites on, we're doing newsletters, articles, on our website. Check out the website, www.teach2endue.com. We will have newsletters. If you cannot find what is able to help you on our website, or we're not sending to you as a subscriber, go on YouTube. Today you can go and Google, how do I learn processes? Okay, remember, the last thing I'm going to say is create a space for yourself. Like I said, don't act like your wife and your children are not there. Everybody is there. So take all that on board, that you have to give everybody their space. Have your time. If it's 2 hours every day that you know is conducive for you, this is my own space here. Everybody knows, if I show you, if I'm able to show you the camera, you'll see my books on the floor. You'll see my books on the floor. This is my space. Nobody comes here. Okay, everybody has the space. Create a space for yourself, and everything you said you want to do, begin to do it. Everything. Make sure, like Toluwani said, you have a support system that will encourage you. What we've done at Teach2Endue is, I'll say this much from my own end, we do Mondays, excuse me, and Fridays. We're talking, how to spiritually empower ourselves. We have a challenge on, we try and post it on Teach2Endue as well, weekly challenge. You can join that just to keep your spirit and your body in place. With your mind, this time will pass, guys. This time will pass. Don't let this distraction, what's the English word I'm looking at now? Don't let this distraction take your eyes off your goals. And if you didn't have goals in the first place, set goals. The power lies in your hands, really. The power lies in your hands. I'm glad we're able to share with you today that intelligence is not for certain people. It's for all of us. It's simply by acquiring more knowledge and more skills. And being smart is not for certain people. It's for all of us. It's simply by applying the knowledge and the skills we have intelligently in our everyday life, at work, at home. It is a matter of applying ourselves. And I finish with this, that life is a choice, guys. It is always a choice. It is always a choice. And so from whatever you've been able to gain from us today, it's still down to you. It's still a choice. Are you going to go and set up a schedule as you leave? Are you going to go and prepare? Are you going to go and write out what you want to get done? Are you going to create a bigger picture? Are you going to, begin to renew your mind, have a new mindset about the change? Virtual online business, virtual teaching, virtual services, that's where we're going. Are you going to go and start learning? We have different courses. Like I said, look out, we might do something on digital tools at some point. I'm learning as well, and I've learned. So I might be able to share some of the things I've learned with you that can enable you get online as fast as possible. Okay, you want to change your mindset about technology. You want to do that. This COVID times should have made you guys aware that there's no way out of, being virtual. Okay, I hope you had a great time. If there's any questions, if not, thank you very much for attending this webinar. It is still going to be available to watch when we're done. We want to say that if you're there, please, don't share our webinars. Let people sign up to gain access to the webinars. The more people, like I said, that we have in attendance, the more it is worth our while to have the support system in place. Look out for the teachers webinar. It's going to be probably next week, May. There's another webinar as well on increasing your earning power. There we can really talk, break it down. So if you're still not clear as to how you can do that, make sure you attend. There's also going to be another free webinar on starting your own business. Just keep looking out. Follow us on Facebook, TEACH2ENDUE, on Instagram, TEACH2ENDUE. And, tell people they're welcome to the webinar as well. At any point in time, people are free to unsubscribe. But the truth of the matter is you have more to gain by being a subscriber than not to gain. I must also say this, that on all our soft skills training, when I say soft skills, I'm talking work ethics, time management, people skills, communication skills, decision making, problem solving. We're doing a huge sale on them. So you want to check what we have available on our website. A lot of these trainings will be Zoom classes. It will not be a webinar. So you have a proper chance to interact with whoever is going to be doing the training with you, ask questions, and it will be like a proper classroom. It's been a great pleasure having this time with you. Mr. Thomas is there. It's good to see you. I'm very happy to be part of life building sessions. God, I continue to empower. God, thank you so much. Thank you. Mrs. Akaumen, God bless you. Thank you so much. Do you want me to bring Mrs. Akaumen back? I will be bringing her back. She has a lot that she can offer us. So thank you so much, Toluwani. I love you. Thank you for always making yourself available. And the Lord continue to empower you. All the plans you have post-COVID, they will happen. They will happen. Okay? Like I said, check her out on Instagram, check her out on Facebook. I think the name of our online school is Rogate College. Is it? Rogate. I can't hear you. Okay, Rogate. Just nod if I'm saying it is Rogate.
Yeah, Rogate College, yes.
Okay, so you want to check that out. I appreciate you. Yes, Rogate College. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a fantastic, stay at home, please. Stay at home, stay safe as much as you can. Remember, this time is going to pass. It's just a distraction. Keep your eyes on the ball. And for the ones that are teachers amongst you, let your friends know, let them look out for the notice. We're going to have having a webinar for teachers next week, Upper Week Monday, and all we're going to be talking about will be the teaching profession and what is going to happen post-COVID. We are going to be talking about that. God bless you guys. Mr. Apata, I don't know whether you can hear me. It's such a shame that we couldn't get him on board, but hopefully another session, definitely will be on the teachers one, and we'll probably have 2 other people on the panel as well. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Have a fantastic evening. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys.